So, hi everyone. Welcome back. It's been a while, almost 2 weeks. And in this video, I think what I want to talk about is mental health. And trying to think of where to start. Long story short, I've been struggling with my mental health. It's always been a struggle because, like a lot of us, I was not given the tools to manage a lot of things, to manage life, and to no fault of anyone because other people, our parents and all that stuff, were not given the tools either. So it's not necessarily anybody's fault, but I'm just at the point where I'm, kind of shifting away from the what's and the whys and the who's and the where's and all that kind of stuff, and just really focusing on the how. How do I move forward? Okay, I have a tendency to fall into depression. How do I manage that? I have a tendency to be paranoid. I have, I forget right now what I think it's called catastrophizing. Basically, it's when like things are going good and then you just look for ways that it could be going wrong, basically. Like, that's the simplest way to put it. So, long story short, guys, it's hard for me to get on here and talk about this because, like, I'm so much about, just moving forward and not focusing on the negative and, you know, yeah, things happen, but we figure out a way through it. And so that's why I'm sharing this story really is because that is my focus. And so I have to do the hard things and kind of open up to you guys when I'm actually going through things rather than waiting until I'm through it and then talking about it afterwards. So if you guys see me pausing, it's because, again, this is hard for me. And I'm trying to choose the right words. And it just has been a lot, like the last couple weeks. Really, if you guys have been watching since I've moved back home, since really before that, like the last 2 years have been a hot mess. In one form or another, like as far as my emotional and mental health is concerned. But ever since really I moved back home, things have really been like building up. And it got to the point where I just decided, you know what, instead of doing this thing, because there have been a lot of cycles going on in my life, and I think we've talked about a few of them. One major one has been me realizing that it's time to separate from my family and realizing that the AC just kicked on, so you guys will probably hear that. But we're just gonna go ahead with it. And like right outside my window is what is that? The thing, the part to the AC that's on the outside. I don't know what that is called. So you guys probably heard that, and then the AC kicked on. It came through the vent. So anyway, a big major cycle for me throughout my life has been me realizing that I need to get away from my family. I need to separate from them because their patterns are not in alignment with the sort of patterns that I want for myself or the sort of patterns that I would want to pass on to my future children if I ever have them. So, I would leave home and I'd move in with this one and I'd move in with that one and I'd go be over here and I'd go be over there. And I always ended up back home. And so just me realizing that pattern and realizing that, like, because for a long time I thought it was that, like, It's not working out in all these other places because it's me. Or it's not working out in all these other places because I should be at home. I should be around people that are familiar to me. I should, whatever. It's not working out in all these other places because of insert whatever reason. But just coming to the clarity of it's not working out in other places because it is me, and it's not that I can't be on my own. It's not that I'm not supposed to. It's not that it wasn't the right thing for me to do. It's not that I'm running from anything. It's simply that I wasn't accepting fully that I could do it on my own. Like, I knew from a while ago, from like my probably, if I'm being honest with you guys, from like my teenage years, I knew that a lot of this journey for me through life was going to be on my own, because I realized from early, like, other people just got their own stuff going on, and I can't immerse myself in other people's shit if I expect to heal and to accomplish whatever it is that I'm here to accomplish. So I always knew that, but the other part of it was I didn't fully accept the fact that I am going to have to do it completely by myself. And I'm going to have to be okay with being lonely. I'm going to have to be okay with truly not knowing anybody and not having a job, not having any security, not having any trampoline outside the window, just jumping and completely jumping off of faith. That was one of the lessons that I had to learn. So like, it would be, I know I need to get away from my family, but before I go, I need to make sure that I have a job lined up. I need to make sure that I know at least one person where I'm going. I need to make sure that I have a place to live already lined up. I need to make sure of this. I need to make sure of that. I need to make sure of this. And I went through all of those motions. I did all of that. And then every time, so I'm not knocking that part of the journey either, because I needed to go through that, like the whole leaving and coming back, leaving and coming back. Because every time that I left the next time with a better understanding, with more of a knowing of how to do this. So like, for example, when I first moved out, I moved completely in with somebody else. It was their place, didn't have anything, right? So then when that didn't work out and I had to go back home, I was like, the next time I move out, I need my own place, I need to have my own job, I need to have everything, do everything on my own. And that's what I did. Moved out again, got my own apartment, paid my own bills, did the whole thing. And I did that for a long time, like 5 or 6 years. However long I did it. Most of my 20s, I was in my own apartment, maintaining my own bills, doing my own thing. But that whole part of like needing somebody to be there with me, like not wanting to be lonely, not wanting to not be in a relationship, like, that part I still struggled with. So I'd have like people move in with me, and I would, do all of these things, not realizing that, and I thought that was, I thought that was right. That's the way that it was supposed to go, but it wasn't benefiting me. Like, I still wasn't happy. So I, ended up moving to a whole other country, then coming back home. Because before I moved, I like got rid of all my stuff. So when I came back, I really had nothing to come back to, because the plan was to stay where I was. And that lesson was me learning about, so, I healed the whole I don't need to be around anybody thing. I healed the whole, making sure that I have all my ducks in a row. And then so like moving to China was the lesson there was me figuring out that I don't need to be tied down by a 9 to 5. I don't need to have a job. The universe provides. Just like really, it was about me stepping out on faith, conquering fears, really getting down to the nitty gritty of the lessons, really. So that was like the start of like me really like doing the work. So I come back from China. I'm back home again because, like I said, I got rid of all my stuff. And then I immediately left again, went to Jamaica. And in Jamaica, that lesson, I really closed out that cycle of like being around other people, depending on other people. I think really in Costa Rica, I closed that out. Let me think. Really? Okay, so every time I learned a little bit more. Like it was a little bit more of like, okay, Sheeta, this is not working. All right, so you think it's the place. Okay, it's not working over here either. Okay, it's not working over there either. So I think now, I don't know when exactly it all clicked. I think like this last time that I moved back home, it really all clicked. I really just had the time to sit down and reflect on everything and just realize like I'm not running from myself. I was running from old patterns, destructive patterns. I was running from dysfunction. I was running from bad things and people who did not have my best interest in mind, regardless of whatever pure intentions they may have claimed that they had. Just coming to the understanding, learning the hard lesson that everybody is out for themselves. Everybody has their own agenda. Everybody has something that they're looking for. And that's going to be your parents, that's going to be your family, that's going to be your best friend from childhood. That's going to be everybody in your life. When you have kids, that's going to be your kids at some point. So just coming to that realization, that understanding that no one is going to have your best interest in mind better or more so than you. And so that has been the last key, the last piece to the puzzle as far as that cycle is concerned. So I just decided this is going to be the last time. So you guys didn't really see my bedroom before, but I'm in a completely new place now. I just like, we got into our last argument and I was like, you know what? This is gonna be the last time I put myself in this position to be talked to this way, to be treated this way, period. Like, I'm in a season now where it's like nothing, I'm not accepting even even a speck of disrespect. I'm not accepting even a droplet of misalignment. You say something that I don't like, you're out. With love, with love, with love, guys, with love. Just simple. I'm just at a point now, even like with dating, this has been for a while, but like really, it's at the point where I can't even like imagine how I dated certain people, how I allowed certain things to happen and didn't set certain boundaries. Like now it's just I'm a completely different person. It's like it happened overnight, but I realized it didn't happen overnight. It was the culmination of all those times I tried and failed, all those times I left home and had to come back. And instead of beating myself up for that, I had grace with myself and I understood that this is the process, this is what it looks like. And this is the reward afterwards. I had patience. I trusted myself. I didn't care about what anybody had to say. Oh, how, all of these things everybody had to say. How are you on YouTube giving people advice and you still live at home and you don't have, anything for yourself and whatever. I've had all that stuff. I've had a car, I've had an apartment, I've had all of that, and I've gotten rid of all of it. I've lost it willingly and I've lost it unwillingly. And now I'm at the point where I'm just, I just don't give a fuck. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I give zero fucks about what anybody has to say about anything concerning my life. My say is the only say that matters. What I want for myself is the only thing that matters. Don't care what anybody else has to say. Because it's like, when you really sit down and like, when I had to really sit down and realize how certain people in my life were like, basically like dictating, like behind the scenes, making plans about my life, and then just automatically assuming that it's all going to come into place. Like, not even consulting with me as if I'm not an almost 32-year-old woman. Like, not even consulting with me about things that concern my life. Just making all these plans and then getting upset at me when I don't. Like, we didn't even sit down and have a conversation about this. How do you even know that this is the direction that I'm trying to go in? Like, this whole, oh, we're family and we're supposed to stick together and we're supposed to do things together and whatever, that works for other people. I think that's what people claim. Honestly, if you ask me deep down inside, what it feels like is a setup. Okay? I honestly have not personally come in any personal contact. Like, I haven't seen it with my own eyes. A family situation where family gets involved financially or in business, for example, and it works out good. Like, I've never seen it. And so all of these are illusions that we've been fed. And like I said, it's all a setup. It's all a setup. So, like, just making all these plans, and it's like volunteering me to do things, like making all these plans and setting all these things up. And then when you realize that I'm in control of my own life and you can't control me, then you want to get upset and say all of this stupid shit. Like, I'm not at the point, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it anymore. I am not doing it anymore. And so we got in the last argument, let's say Monday, and by Friday I was out of there. So now I've moved. I'm in a completely new space, and I really like this new space. It's full of natural light, because my bedroom at my mom's house was like a fucking dungeon. Like, there were no like windows, no nothing. It was just like this like, it felt like I was living in a basement, like in a dungeon. And so this has plenty of natural lighting. Like, it just feels better. I don't know if you guys can hear, but the birds are chirping outside. Like, it's just beautiful. Like, being able to wake up to that again, like nature right outside my window, and being able to see that from my bed. It's just great, and it's a blessing, and well needed, well deserved, and I'm just grateful that I had the strength to take myself out of a situation that wasn't serving me and put myself in one that is serving me. So let's kind of move away from that, and let's talk about what we were talking about a little bit at the beginning of the video, like how I've always struggled with mental health and how I struggle with like paranoia and catastrophizing and all that kind of stuff. So